Welcome, everybody. We are now officially less than 24 hours away from the start of the 2023 NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series. If you see, we're a little bit of a different setting for this video compared to usual. Usually you'd see me in my room as we record these videos and talk about the world of drag racing, but now we are here in the hotel. We are now officially in Gainesville, Florida, about 30 minutes away from the racetrack. We are now officially done. The wait is over. We are here. The haulers are at the racetrack. The drivers are in their little PR shirts. They are walking around. They're mingling. I believe, the Hall of Fame dinner is going on as we speak. At the time we're recording this video at about 7:36 at night. The wait is officially over. We are now officially done waiting for drag racing, and now it is time. Tomorrow we'll be at the racetrack. Friday we'll be at the racetrack. Saturday we'll be at the racetrack. Sunday. But before we could even talk about the racing, we had the NHRA media press conference today, and I want to give a huge shout out to NHRA inviting me to that. That was a lot of fun to get to go there and meet a lot of the people that I haven't seen since Indianapolis, a lot of the people that I haven't gotten a chance to talk to in a couple months, but also get a chance to talk to the drivers. They had John Force in attendance as well with Josh Hart, and the four reigning champions in each of their classes, that meaning Erica Enders, that meaning Matt Smith, Brittany Force, and of course Ron Capps. Now, we'll give you a bit of the highlights as we go into. We did have a chance to interview a couple of drivers one-on-one afterwards, but here are some of the highlights because in true John Force fashion, he has a way of stealing the show.
Why is Gainesville such a big race?
I'm going to tell you something. No, I don't have time. So,
Yeah, tell him.
well, you know, when you get my age, I'm going on 100, me and Garland's, right? And you start fighting things daily, depression, different stuff that makes you crazy. And I promised Dinsmore I wouldn't say it. But you get all mental, and you forget why you come. It's just a fight continually. From early in the morning till late at night, you wake up sick. But in the middle of it, I went to one of my grandsons, my crew chief Daniel Hood, his son Jacob, Noah and Ashley, they went, and he's playing hockey, right? That's where they knocked them little pucks around. And they got beat in the morning. So we had to go back late in the evening. I told you didn't have time for this shit, right? Had to go back late in the evening, and Danny was kind of down because they lost, and he says, this is going to be tough, as positive as I am. He said, these kids are taking on the #1 team, and this is to run for the title, and they got to win tonight. And to watch them, and the attitude was unbelievable. And I walked out of there because they won. And not only that, they took the points lead from the best team right there in that neck of the woods. But what changed me was like, what is wrong with me? That's who John Force used to be. And I come in fighting all the fight and forget to have fun like cats. And in the middle of it, it was like my grandson gave me life. So I'm coming here to kick some ass.
The idea that you could become one of one in pro stock motorcycle, does that even make sense to you?
No, it really doesn't. I mean, I tell everybody that we're going for 7 or we're going for 1. And Angie has all the best stuff now that I'm going to Suzuki this year, and we're going to try to get that 7th championship there on that. But she's got all our V-twin stuff that's one of the last 3 championships, the last 3 years. So hopefully either she can pull it off or I can do it on the Suzuki, and that's our goal right now for our Denso.
Yeah, for us it was a nice off season. Actually, knowing that we had an extra month as an owner, it changed everything for me. The fact that Guido, my crew chief, didn't want to go testing 3 or 4 times was definitely better on the pocketbook. And thank you again, NHRA, for putting this test together this week. I mean, I've heard owners talk about in the past about not wanting to go all over the country back and forth, and the chance to have a test session leading up to this race at the same track, same conditions. I think it's going to be better for the fans because the crew chiefs can have a better idea on what the weather, what the track's going to be like. So for us leading into it, this is my first year actually owning all of our own stuff, and coming back off, like she said, to see the #1 put on the car is pretty neat. To do a back-to-back, we didn't expect to do it like we did, and I'm still blown away and reminded every time I'm asked. And I think that's the cool part, is you don't rest on your laurels. We realized what we did was pretty special, and it's going to come down. Funny car, there's no doubt it's going to come down to that again in probably all categories. There's competition has stepped up everywhere. It seems like every year we say the same thing. So we're just going to have to go out there and do what we did last year.
I don't know about these 3 over here, but I wouldn't mind seeing us 3 and 4 on the winner's stage at the end of the race this weekend. That would be fine with me.
And then lastly, we get a chance to go one-on-one with some of the drivers. Here's an interview that we did with, Blues going to be orders going to be Matt Smith. Then we'll go with Eric Enders. And then we got a chance to talk to Ron Capps as he was leaving the event. So going into 2023, you're a 5-time champion. You just got back from the Mountain Board Pro Stock. First off, how did that go? I know you went out first round, not the best way to go out, but just talk about that World Series of Pro Mod event that you're at a week ago.
Yeah, the World Series of Pro Mod was last week in Bradenton, and we went down about 4 or 5 days early. I had never driven a mountain motor car before, so it was definitely a little bit of a learning curve, but being that my first time in the car was on Tuesday afternoon, and then we raced on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I think we did a great job. You know, the track was super tricky on Sunday, and our scoreboard didn't show exactly what we're capable of, so I'm excited to have another opportunity to drive that car down the road. But now I'm really excited about the Gatornationals, you know, moving on to 500-inch Pro Stock, which is my bread and butter, what I love and adore. So we're going to see if we can come out swinging the first of the season like we did last year.
And then going into 2023, obviously you have the KB Titan merger that kind of closes that gap a little bit between you and Greg. How do you look forward to that, trying to gauge the competition? And is there anybody else that you're looking at that can give you a headache maybe this season to go fight for that title?
Well, Greg Anderson is always going to be my biggest rival out there. And before the season started last year, him and I were joking around and having like a fun discussion. But we said, let's see if we can keep these kids off our backs this year, because him and I are the older ones in the category now. I don't feel like I'm old, but it's a lot of an influx of the younger kids out there. So if you have to make me predict, I'll predict that it'll come down to he and I again, but there's going to be some players that are in the mix, and those guys, in my opinion, are going to come from my camp with TJ Coughlin, Aaron Stanfield, Bo Butner, the Quadra family. We were all just in Bradenton testing, and we threw some pretty substantial numbers up on the board, and we were able to win testing. My car was the quickest one down there the entire week, so that, you know, obviously means nothing when you come to Gainesville. The battle starts over, but I feel like that we're as prepared as possible, and we're going to just do the best that we can, but the competition will definitely be stout, but Greg has always been a thorn in my side, just like I am in his.
All right, and last question. So every time you go to an NHRA event, when the funny cars are done, you start to see those fans start piling down the grandstands, and I know that kind of hurts a little bit. For the fans that are at the events or watching and then maybe don't give you a second thought, kind of, if you can, sell them a bit on why they should watch Pro Stock and why they should watch Pro Stock motorcycle. Like, why should the mass exodus that goes on at these events kind of stop?
I would challenge you to just wait an extra 20 to 30 minutes to go get a cold beer or a hot dog, because the competition is so stout in Pro Stock. It's your factory hot rod class. They're kind of the cars that look more like something you would see on the street. But what is so intriguing about our class is that you have to lead with a clutch. It's a 5-speed Liberty, so a lot of the weight is on the driver's shoulders, and that's what I love so much about it, that when they shut the door, it's up to me. And you'll have a 16-car field separated by just a few hundredths of a second. So to me, that's entertainment enough. And then behind us come the crazy people on 2 wheels, which I'm sure you'll get to talk to Matt and Angie here in a minute. But it's also exciting to watch. It's not about flames and explosions all the time. It's about like the raw horsepower and just how intricate our cars are.
All right, so you go into tomorrow, you got that new Suzuki bike. Is there a bit of excitement and anticipation to finally get an opportunity to no longer have to worry about testing, and now you actually get to see the results compared to the Vance and Hines crew with the new bike, with the Suzuki factory deal?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're ready. We tested good on the Suzuki, so we won't have our Gen 3 booster body work until Chicago, but we're going to run our TL Suzuki the first 2 races, and I'll be very disappointed if we're not a top 3 bike right off the bat, so I think we'll be pretty strong.
And then, so just today, Hector on a Jr. announced the full-time ride for the season. You got other riders, like obviously Eddie Pruitt, Joey Gladstone, and Steve Johnson still chasing you down. Is there anybody in the class, besides maybe the obvious Eddie Pruitt cancer and your wife Angie, that maybe you think is going to give me a headache this season, especially going into tomorrow?
I think my biggest competition is on our own team, which is my wife. I think she's probably got one of the best bikes out there. Just don't know when we'll show it, but you know, I think she's going to be the competition to beat this year.
And then, so I talked to you earlier about the Dave Schultz stat. Obviously, that we talked about how much that means to you. Did that sink in the off season that you're on the cusp of maybe having that? and just kind of what would that mean to you, having that 7th record now to pass the Dave Schultz record, which some thought like that's not going to fall with how competitive this class has been.
Yeah, I mean, I never got to race against Dave Schultz. I knew him. I knew his son Brian. Me and Brian raced in AMA Pro Stock for a long time, and by the time I got over to Pro Stock in NHRA, Dave was going out, and he was a great guy. Watched him. I grew up, idolized him. Kind of why I wanted to do Pro Stock motorcycles, because of him. And the ties record is awesome, but some parts of me doesn't want to beat the record. I'd rather stay tied with them, but then the other parts want me to go in and try to get the record. So we're going to go do our best and try to see if we can get 7.
All right, and I just talked to Erica a moment ago, and I'm going to ask you the same question. When Funny Car gets off the lines, you see the fans start piling out of the grandstand. They just start leaving. In your own words, what is it about Pro Stock motorcycle that should make these fans stay, to make those stands stay as crowded as they are for the fuel cars for you guys?
Well, I think the big thing, a lot of people like the loudness of nitro, and they like the smell of nitro and the vibration. Pro Stock car, Pro Stock bike, you have to be a gearhead, a car gearhead, to watch us. And man, when you have a motorcycle going over 200 mile an hour about all the time now, there's no reason not to sit in that stands and watch it. That's just as impressive as going 330 mile an hour in a top fuel and funny car, in my opinion.
All right, I guess kind of lastly, you guys got added to the call out for this season. How much are you looking forward to that? Because you guys get to do that. Also, you got Seattle added too, so now you're a part of the West Coast swing now.
Yep.
So what does that mean to you now to have your own call out, and then also now being a part to have that full Western swing? And is that kind of something that you're looking to want to accomplish this season?
Yeah, I look forward to the missions Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge. Hopefully I can get in there a couple times and collect that money, but more importantly, collect those points that go toward the countdown. And we are going to Seattle. It's our first time ever going to Seattle, so I've swept the swing before with a 2-race deal. We'll see if we can do it on a 3-race deal this year and give the fans something to shoot for in Seattle.
What's the game plan going into tomorrow as you get set for Q1?
This year is already, obviously we're starting a year or a month later, and on top of the Gatornationals being as big as they always really are, it just seems like this is the biggest Gatornationals I've ever, gotten ready for. Conditions are going to be pretty demanding on Saturday, Sunday, but we see a little chance of weather on Friday. So I'm lucky in my car with Guido, my crew chief's very good at both, awesome conditions, and then when it gets tricky and hot out there, him and I work well together to get the car down the track, and he's really good in tricky conditions. So I think we're going to see that all weekend. The funnest part is going to be Saturday, because we're going to try to make sure that you get your head ready for what's coming the rest of the season. That is the Too Fast, Too Tasty mission foods thing that they're going to do, so you can actually make some money on Saturday with a race within qualifying. So I think a lot of drivers are pumped up for that. So this feels like a whole new season, just up 3 or 4 levels.
And so we were just talking a minute ago about your trip to Las Vegas. Now that you've been a part of Toyota now for about a season, kind of talk about that whole camaraderie that you guys have. It kind of seems like even though that you have like the NASCAR guys and you have the NHRA guys and everything else in between, it seems like you guys are under one umbrella. And so being a part of that for you, just kind of talk about that relationship you guys have, because I don't really see too many racing series where manufacturers that personal with their drivers as they are with Toyota.
I've been lucky in the sense that I've been with Napa Auto Parts since 2008, and the list of the team, I've bragged about it on social media. You couldn't find a better one sponsor amount of drivers and teams that were represented like Napa had, right? With, go down the list. We had just the last couple of years, Alexander Rossi, but Chase Elliott and Brad Sweet, who's working on 5 championships and World Outlaws. But the Toyota thing, man, it's so much fun. Production day and right after the new year, to run into Bubba, to run into Tyler Reddick and Gibbs, and it's fun to interact with these people we don't get to see a lot, but are our Toyota teammates. But the coolest part was Daytona, getting together doing a TV interview with Tyler Reddick, and then he came right up to me in Vegas. He said, because I told him, let's get you in the car at the 4 wides and Z-Max, and he's going to be around on Friday. We want to put him in there and let him warm the car up. So he is super. For a kid that's driven dirt cars and as good a driver as he is, he came right over to me in Vegas and said, hey man, I'm excited about Charlotte. And so I can't wait to put him in there an 11,000 horsepower fire up and have him sit right behind it. That's going to be pretty cool. So that's the best part about having teammates like we have with Toyota. Toyota's all in on everything. I mean, there's first or nothing. So it's going to be fun to have that kind of, all of our teammates come over and enjoy what we do.
Are you going to let Tyler do a throttle whack when he gets in the car?
I don't even do a throttle whack. If he wants to do it, I'd let him. I mean, I own the car. But I don't think once he fired up, I don't think anybody in their right mind that's never been in one would actually want to hit the throttle. I don't even want to do that. It is gnarly, so it's up to him.
And lastly, so obviously we talk about the big three over here, you, Hagan, and Height. Now you also have the possibility of people keep talking about Cruz being the one to kind of bust his way in there. With the competition that you guys have between you three and just the rest of the class as well, who are you kind of looking at amongst the class that's going to maybe be the biggest headache from you completing that caps trick that Joe keeps alluding to?
Yeah, you listed. I mean, every time we start to talk like you just did, talking about who's going to be better this year than they were last year, I always feel like I'm making somebody mad by not mentioning their name, right? I mean, yeah, you can talk about the top three from last year, and Hagan and Hyde are always going to be there. Those are teams, and we'd like to think we are as well. But I know J.R. Todd and that team, they're very good and showing what they did in testing, they're going to be right there. Cruz, the way they finished the year and the way they tested are going to be good. Tim Wilkerson having a little bit extra funding. He's slimmed up a little bit. He's pumped up. But look at, you go down the list even further. You start naming I can legitimately tell you right now, there's a list in my brain right now of 12 cars that can win on Sunday. And I don't think you can always, or have been able to in the past, say that. So Paul Lee, that's somebody that's not out there all the races, and they ran good in testing. So Alex coming into the Jim Dunn car. I mean, it's so much excitement. And listen, you and I had the conversation I've had with the media every year, and we always say, man, it looks like Funny Car will be tougher this year than it's ever been. And we said it last year, and look what happened. I mean, it was. So I think we're going to see the same thing 2023.
I hope you enjoyed that. We have some more interviews coming tomorrow as we get set for this weekend's event. Now, of course, looking into this weekend, there's so many storylines that are going into it. As you saw in your interview, we talked with Matt Smith. Of course, he's going for the record 7th championship, trying to break that tie with Andrew Schultz and Andrew Hines and Dave Schultz. I'm getting my legends mixed up. You'll probably see me do that a bit more throughout the weekend and, of course, throughout the season. But as well, Eric Ender is trying to go after a 6th championship, trying to fend off Greg Anderson as she has been most of her career. Got Ron Capps going for 3 in a row. Bit off the record, what John said with the 10 in a row, but still an incredible record nonetheless. And then, of course, the ever competitive Top Fuel. And a lot of people that I've seen from testing are really pointing towards Clay Milliken being the top guy, one of the big underdog dark horses going into it. And I agree with that partially. From what I saw in testing, Clay, I didn't get to see much of the times from this test, but at the previous test that Clay was at, he coasted to what I believe is more than likely the fastest time of the offseason. He shut it off at about past the 900-foot mark and coasted to 1,000 feet at 368. That would have been a low 360 time that he could have hit if he was full throttle the entire way through. And I agree with that. So I agree that Clay is a bit of a dark horse. There's some people that are saying he's going to win a Top Fuel call-out, and I could definitely see that. That team has had quite the rebirth over the course of the offseason. We talked with Clay. There was an interview I did with him back in Indianapolis when Rick Ware first bought that team. And the way that I do see it, Clay is one of the big guys that I'm looking out for. That team has really revitalized itself and gotten the funding that they need. Not only that, but they've had the offseason to move the team from around the Illinois, Tennessee area. The Doug Stringer had it set up, moved it to North Carolina. They're now in the same shop as the DPI program. I believe the NASCAR shop, unless it's at a separate shop with, I believe, Stuart Haas. I still think it is. But they're now in the same shop. They have a lot of the same guys working on the car. Not only do they work on a car, an entirely brand new car, not just a new chassis. They got a new engine. They got new wheels. They got new electronics. They got a new seat. And, of course, the same old crew and the same old driver. That team, like I said, is the team that has had everything they need to be a perennial Wally contender. They have what they need to become a championship contender, but what they have lacked is the funding, and that's just the way it is. Doug Stringer is not on the same funding level as what Don Schumacher, John Force, and Connie Coletta is at. They have to make what they have throughout the season work and maybe use a year-old car. With Rick Ware, he has gone fully committed into making that team the powerhouse team that it is willing to be. And I truly do think that they can be that Wally winning contender, the national event winning contender, possibly a championship contender. Do I see them maybe coming straight out of the dealership off the showroom floor and winning it this weekend? I'm not sure. I really don't think so. I'm maybe not sure this weekend. I see him going rounds. I see him doing a lot better than he has in the past. I see him getting those win lights that he's been trying to find throughout the last couple of events, and maybe making second round, semifinal, maybe a finalist round. But what I truly do think is that maybe not Gainesville, but Arizona is where I see him being a real big powerhouse. Get the cobwebs off, get everything figured out, get those little gremlins that have been fighting him for the last few events on that old car, maybe someone on the new car they don't know, get it all figured out. But Arizona has been a track that he has been really strong at in the past. I believe he's made the past 2 finals of that event. He's been really fast at that track. He has not yet gotten the Wally there. It is one of his best tracks, and it's a track he seems to enjoy racing at. I think Arizona is where we might see him really come out of the box swinging. Gainesville, I see him doing well. If he wins, it would not surprise me at all. But what I do think is that come Arizona, Clay is really going to be in full force, and that's when we're going to see that Clay Millican that everybody is talking about throughout the offseason. And Funny Car, obviously, my biggest pick for what I believe is going to happen in Funny Car is Robert Hight is going to come out swinging. If you saw Robert Hight following the Pomona Finals when he lost that championship, doesn't matter if he was wearing sunglasses or not. You could see he was not a happy camper. He was the most pissed off person at that drag strip out of anybody else that was there. He had that championship in his grasp. He almost had the check signed to him, and he ends up losing on the semifinal round where Ron Capps made the finals and only had to make a pass to clinch a championship. I see Robert Hight being the biggest threat to Ron Capps, to Matt Hagan, to that entire class. I think he's on a revenge tour. I think he has a hit list in mind. I think he's going to go for the head. I truly do believe that Robert Hight is going to be one of the biggest threats to win this championship this year. I'm not saying Ron Capps can't do it. Obviously, Capps has proved everybody wrong. He's proved anybody that has doubted him wrong. Even with the new team, even with having a new partner with Toyota, now he has that full season under his belt. He's going to be as strong as he is as well. But then you also got to look at J.R. Todd. We literally in the interview, he talked about this. J.R. Todd, not the season that he won last year. He's going to be looking to redeem himself this season. He's been pretty strong in testing. And the biggest story seen at testing, a lot of guys struggle to even make a pass. But I'm going to believe Ron Capps when he says that he is as strong as he is. So I believe J.R. Todd is going to be strong. I believe Ron Capps is going to obviously be the guy to beat. I think Robert Hight is going to go for the head. I think Matt Hagan's also going to throw his hat in that ring. I'm not sure where. It possibly could be this weekend. He won there last year, so it could easily be there as well. But it's a who's guess on what's going to happen come Gainesville. There are so many storylines in there, but of course, we also got to end it off with Pro Stock and Pro Stock Motorcycle. We talked about Erica Enders. Again, going for that 6th title. He's going to be chasing down Greg Anderson, trying to keep him away. I believe last year was a track that she fell apart at and didn't really get what she wanted out of that. So she's going to be someone that you need to look out for. And then also as well, Pro Stock Motorcycle, Matt Smith, he told me he's not going to get that Gen 3 Hayabusa body until Chicago. So a lot of people in the Vance and Hines camp, Joey Gladstone, Eddie Craywick, Gage Herrera are going to be shooting for the moon, trying to keep him down. Get as big of a gap as they can. Try and make sure that while he's maybe working on those gremlins on that bike now, he's going to be out there. He's going to go swinging. But with Angie Smith on that old V-twin, again, man, you never know. I think Angie Smith is going to be a real big threat too. He's going to be her main priority, I think, is if not winning the championship, is going to be making sure Matt Smith can get it. So she's going to be doing everything she can to keep that team down. And then, of course, Hector Rana Jr. announced this weekend that today actually, that he is going to be running the full 2023 NHRA season. I think that is huge news for that class. I think it's huge news for him because of the fact that he went out swinging 2 of the last 3 events. He won at Dallas and he won at Vegas. I think he is someone who we also need to watch out for because he could be a big championship spoiler contender. Maybe not the championship caliber, but he could really very much shake things up in that class. And of course, Chase Van Sant as well. So there are a lot of storylines that are coming out this weekend. There's a lot more that I'm going to cover as the weekend goes along. But be sure, follow me here. Follow me on Twitter. Instagram, Facebook, and now I got TikTok. So there's a bunch of places you can follow me. I'm going to be covering NHRA throughout the entire weekend, whether it's on this channel with videos or at the track on Twitter. Be sure to follow me along. And again, thank you guys so much for supporting me. Tomorrow, start of a new season. Be sure to follow along. And until then, I will see you next time. Have a good night, y'all.